for a place. A place that takes me to a higher ground. A place to call my own, but share it amongst millions of friends around the world. And now, I've found that place. It's uplifting. It's stratospheric.
Take me to trance heaven. Right here, right now.
Are you guys ready for a state of trance? Put your hands in the air. Come on!
Providing you with the latest and best every week. Here is your DJ, Armin Van Buuren.
The new Artie with the vocals of Conrad. You may know him from his track with Kygo, Firestone. Artie is actually releasing an artist album called Glorious on the 9th of October. Very curious to hear that one. Hello and welcome, I'm Armin Van Buuren. Welcome to a new episode of A State of Trance, packed with new music. I have so much new tracks I could have easily filled 2 radio shows this week. Coming up for you, my official Rising Star remix for Stardust, my track with Jean-Michel Jarre. Also, the world premiere of the 2nd track from my album Embrace, and you can expect new music from Above and Beyond, First State, Maarten de Jong and Fairy Tale. But first, pretty unusual track, but I loved it. Brzezinski on Enhanced Riptide. Let me know what you think of this track. The hashtag ASOT730.
First State here. 8 years ago, I've made a track with Anita Kelsey called Falling. And now in 2015, I've made a rework of this record that will be released on Black Hole Recordings. I hope you like it.
Listing on Twitter @ASOT and interact on social media using the hashtag ASOT.
Every week, a great team of people helps me with selecting tracks for this radio show, and one of those guys is Ruben de Ronde, and he actually has his own label called Statement Recordings. You just heard a new release on that label, Nick Tom's Arcade. And before that one, a very nice rework of the 2007 classic by First State, featuring Anita Kelsey, Falling. Lined up for you, the next couple of minutes, the new Grum, ATB, and the world premiere coming of a new Ferry Corsten remix, so stay tuned. But first, the official anthem for Electric Zoo in New York last weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the new Above and Beyond with Zoe Johnston, Fly to New York.
You've been in my dreams, right there in the seams, in the notes, in the fabric, in the way the day leaves. There's so much I'd love.
exclusive.
You caused the rain, I brought your pain, but you're the only one that can save me. You caused the rain, I brought your pain, but you're the only one that can save me. Oh, save me. Please save me. You caused the rain, I brought your pain, but you're the only one that can save me. Oh, save me. Sometimes I hit you with a doubt tone. You're right, but then I say you're wrong. Sometimes I drink too much caffeine. I go to sleep like I'm dope on morphine. There's a light in your window. 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 Sometimes I leave you alone. Sometimes there's skeletons in my bones. At night I drink way too much. Come home and hit you with a sucker punch. There's a light in your window. There's a light in your window. There's a light in your window. There's a light. I caused the rain, I brought your pain, but you're the only one that can save me. You caused the rain, I brought your pain, but you're the only one that can save me. Oh, save me.
David Jamal Listenby has produced tracks for LMFAO, Jennifer Lopez and Rihanna, and earlier this year he stepped out of their shadows with his massive hit Save Me. And now, a few months later, the world premiere of the Ferry Corsten remix, who made it suitable for this radio show. Great work, Ferry. And within 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, a second track from my new artist album Embrace that will drop on the 29th of October. But first, is it a bird? Is it an airplane? It's Orion Nielsen. This is A State of Trance. Pretty epic collaboration if you ask me. BT and Elon Bluestone with Steph Lang. All These Wounds. Plays you the Alex Klingel remix on Anjuna Beats. Ladies and gentlemen, time for a big moment on the show. Last week I announced the artwork and the title for my upcoming artist album. It'll be released on the 29th of October. It's called Embrace. Time to reveal the second track. It was really awesome to work with somebody who has a really clear idea about his own sound, but is also open to merge his ideas with mine. I wanted to show the world that it can be exciting to try and blend two different worlds together and to create something that's more than just the sum of its parts. The result is a peak time stormer that I've been testing this whole summer in my DJ sets. Ladies and gentlemen, Hardwell and Armin Van Buuren.
Hey, Hardwell here. Check out my new single together with Armin Van Buuren. This is Off the Hook.
This is the tune of the week.
Reality. This is my new remix by Eddie Maccabi. It's called Euphoria, which will be released on Cloudland Music. I hope you like it.